Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So in a week on Tuesday, we shall get the Twisted Denizens event for Vault of Stars. So this is kind of targeted at most of the endgame players who truly want to min-max their characters and face off a worthy challenge. We shall be able to jump into the Vault of Stars K team. So this is when you go and you queue into your Vault of Stars and you use the match options to get your total item level decreased. As we can see here, I'm scaled down to 45,000 and it's hardcore, so you only have one death available. Soon as somebody dies, the instance goes and shuts down and you have to completely restart. So from the news from the developers, we've gotten that yes, you're going to have to queue in as K team. Then within those alcoves, you'll be able to see those shadow rifts. However, initially they are guarded by a bunch of, I believe, quicklings and like a tree mob. Once you kill those off, you shall spawn a shadow rift, and this shadow rift you'll be able to interact and then fight a certain boss. About a week ago we were able to do so, but we weren't able to get much further than summoning the shadow rift, and only we were able to do so when we actually died. Now with that, if you go and interact with the shadow rift, you should be able to go and fight a certain boss. For the very first boss, you have a moss covered twig blight, and once you go and kill it, you should be able to have a chance to drop a reagent called the Petrified root band. Now with going on to the second shadow rift, this one being on the dais, the platform just before the second boss, you shall be able to go and interact with it, enter into this new area kind of thing that it teleports you into the forest, and you'll have to kill the verdant overgrowth. And if you kill this mini boss, if it doesn't leave you in shambles, you'll be able to at a chance obtain the Shambling Mound moss, this being another one of those reagents for relic restoration. Now while you're during the maze, when you go in between the second and the third arena, you should be able to find another one of those shadow rifts. Again, this one, similar to the first one, is guarded by a whole bunch of quicklings which deal heavy amounts of damage from what we've experienced. You may notice here in some gameplay that yes, we got absolutely wrecked anyway, and then we didn't really bother coming back because it's hardcore and you'll have to do the hall dungeon again. But with that said, if you interact with this shadow rift that spawns, you'll be able to fight this gnarled thorn wart. And this prickly spawn has a chance to drop the third component, the thorn covered sepal. Now finally, upon completing the hardcore dungeon, after the final boss, those golems, you shall encounter, I'm not actually sure yet, but supposedly you'll be able to fight a final boss that will have a chance to drop the Night Diamond Shard. And these are all four of your required reagents. Now once you have all four components, as the players you have a chance to craft up these rings. You have a choice between the Ring of Darkness and the Band of Air. And I'm assuming if you do this multiple times you'll be able to get both rings in the end. But it might take you a significant amount of time depending on the chances, and then I'm guessing you can probably only get the reagents as a group rather than your own drops, but we'll have to see. Now interestingly enough, these rings are in fact a set, and rather than giving bonuses like we may see on the current rings, I have equipped that would give you stats or give you certain ratings depending on the certain requirements that you meet. We can see that the Ring of Darkness will give you your crit strike and your combat advantage. I'm assuming both of these stat ratings are actually a bit off compared to the combat change, but it will also give you the bonus that will engulf your target in darkness and reduce their accuracy and also damage them over time. So this ring will be entirely dependent on how much damage over time this actually deals. Now we have the Band of Air. And this one seems to have the same stats. Again, both these rings are at 1500 item level, these being the maximum item level rings we can also get from the Vault of Stars. And with its equip power, it'll be able to empower your weapon with the force of air, dealing additional damage each time you attack. Again, this will entirely depend on how much damage that actually is. Now, if you equip both these rings, you will create a set, the Queen's Empowerment. And this will give you the benefit of Lingering Darkness will becoming the Dooming Darkness. And this Dooming Darkness will deal less damage, however it will do times 10 damage to the target at its final tick. And then with the last one, the Touch of Wind, it will become the Airy Defender. And the Airy Defender will summon an Airy Defender that will attack your enemies for a time. Again, all of these are going to have to be tested out as whether they're going to be worth it or not. And that's pretty much it. So it's going to be a whole bunch of frustration in regards to not completing the dungeon because it's hardcore. You have one death remaining. Anybody on your team dies, that's it. You restart the whole thing. And you have to get through 4 additional bosses and the standard 3 bosses within your normal VoS. So good luck to all of you guys. I highly recommend bringing a paladin healer along with a cleric healer, 2 really good damage dealers, and then a solid tank to get you through. You also might want to look at optimizing your build to be at around 45,000 item level, because in doing so, if you reduce your item level to that mark, it will give you an easier ability to gain more of these percentages. For example, if I reduced my item level to 45,000, I'd gain nearly 5% more defense, 5% more awareness, and all of these other defense abilities along with my offense ones, giving me more survivability along with healing, since I'm a healer, or damage if you're a damage dealer. So you ideally want to adjust your builds to that 45,000. However, we're unsure exactly, as the blog seems to be a little contradictory with regards to hardcore and K-Team. K-Team being reducing your item level and hardcore just having the 1 death remaining. We shall see. In my opinion, I really don't like the reducing item level, as yeah, we're just going to have to make adjustments to our builds, which is a bit stupid, rather than just maximizing out our builds. Gives that bit of incentive to maximize out your character with gaining the best item level gear, etc. So that be everything. You may have seen some footage of when we went and attempted the hardcore mode and beating up those shadows, and yeah, it didn't go too well. It was kind of bugged. You may notice that the second shadow rift, we just kept getting teleported back out of it. I'm assuming that was a bug because it wasn't intended to have been implemented just yet. Currently it's been removed, so we're going to have to wait a week before we can see any more of it. So I'm pretty excited for this Twisted Denizens event to come out. Unfortunately, it is pretty exclusive to those endgame players. So hopefully I presented as well. Consider leaving the video a like, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing. And we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.